Hi, this is Sean with GoSBA. The goal of this video is to give you an explanation and understanding of how to fill out the personal financial statement. This statement is also called the PFS and it's also called the SBA Form 413. This is a document that needs to be filled out every time you're applying for an SBA loan, or if you're applying potentially for SBA 8A certification. A little bit about GoSBA Loans. We're a marketplace that makes it very simple and easy to get SBA funding, both SBA 7A and 504 loans. We obviously automate this entire process, but for our clients and for people visiting our page who want to do this application without us, I think this video is going to be helpful in kind of going through each section of the PFS so you can complete it adequately. So the first thing to kind of notice is the expiration date right here. This is the date that the PFS that you're working on is valid. So make sure when you're filling out a PFS, this expiration date is current. For this one, we're currently on 1/31/2018, and so this PFS is valid. The next thing that you'll notice is as of date. You typically want to put a date, today's date, and a PFS is valid for 90 days from this date. Okay. The other thing worth mentioning is that the PFS is designed, for all the assets and all the liabilities have to be a total of the liabilities and assets of a married couple. So if you're married, you have to kind of total all the assets that you and your wife or you and your husband own together. So the first thing you'll see here is name, which is obviously you'll put your full name here, your business phone, your home address, your home phone, the city, state, zip code for the home, and the business name of the applicant. From there, you'll see the cash on hand in banks. This is essentially, all the money that you have in your personal checking account or individual checking account or joint checking accounts, and you want to kind of add that all up to kind of enter it here. The second thing would be the saving account, which is obviously all the money that you have in saving accounts, money market funds, CDs, etc. Okay. The third description here is the IRA or any retirement account that you have. This includes 401k accounts, any kind of restricted retirement accounts you want to put in here. Another thing worth mentioning is it's important to omit the cents. So just kind of round it up to the nearest dollar. The next thing that needs to be filled out is the accounts and notes receivable. This is essentially any personal loan that you've made out to people, made out to kind of family members that is not your spouse, right? Or you've lent money to a business would be here. I think for most people this would definitely be zero. The next one that has to be filled out is life insurance and the cash surrender value. This only applies to kind of insurance policies that actually have a cash payout if the policy is canceled. So if you typically have a term life insurance policy, you will not input it here. Okay. The next section, or the next thing that needs to be filled out, is the stocks and bonds. These are all the stocks and bonds that you own in unrestricted stock or bond accounts. These are stocks and bonds you can sell without any tax penalties, and it's important to put that number here and the total of that number. For the real estate item, you want to kind of put in the value of all the residences, the commercial property that you own, or your spouse owns, or you own jointly together. You want to provide a full description of these properties in section 4, but this should just be the total. The next section is the automobiles, which is the present value of these cars, right, or boats or recreational vehicles. So if, for example, you bought the car for 25K and currently it can only sell for 10K, you'll only put 10K in here. Okay. The next is the other personal property. This is, an estimate of, jewelry, artwork, electronic, antiques, miscellaneous personal possession. I had a client who had a 50K wine collection, and they would kind of put that, the personal, that would be part of personal property. The next tab is the other assets. This is an important one because this is probably one of the most common mistakes we see when clients apply for SBA loans, is not including, any other assets in addition to the personal property. In most cases, this is the value of your business. This is the value of your ownership or your spouse's ownership in the business or any other business. And typically, what you want to do is you want to basically, let's just say you own 25% of the business, and the market value of the business is, 1.5 million, right? You want to only put in 25% of that 1.5 million, not the entire 1.5 million, right? So that's important here. There are multiple ways that you could kind of value a business. Typically, you want to just value it based on maybe 4 to 5 times your net income, and this would be a good kind of place to put that value. Now that all of the assets are completed, you want to total up all the assets to get your total personal assets here. Obviously, if you apply through GoSBA Loans, we do all this packaging for you and do all the calculations for you as well as kind of introduce you to almost 30 lenders, right, that can give you the best rate in term. But for this statement, you could actually obviously manually add these numbers up as well. Okay. The next thing that we want to talk about is the liability section right here. And the first thing that we want to talk about is the account payables, which is really, all of the, products or services you purchase on credit. This does not include credit cards or other personal lines of credit, but it's not a commonly used, item. Most people will have this as zero. The next one is note payables to banks or others. This section is the total balance on your credit cards, personal loans, personal line of credits. It should also include any kind of student debt that you have, should go here. This is the next one, the installment account for auto. As the name implies, this is basically the debt that you owe on your cars, boats, recreational vehicles, etc. Please include both the outstanding balance, right, and the monthly payment here. Okay, so the outstanding balance should be right here, and the monthly payment should be right here. The next is the installment account other. These are all of the installment loans, such as student loans, other personal loans. And I kind of misspoke where I asked you to add the student loans here. The student loans should actually be in the installment account other. The total amount that you owe here and the monthly payment here. The next thing is the loan on life insurance. Most people don't really have this liability, but if you've taken a loan against your life insurance policy, you want to add it here. The next one is the mortgage on your real estate. This is the total debt that you owe on your real estate. This includes your personal mortgage. It's not the original mortgage amount, it's just the current outstanding debt. The next section is the unpaid taxes, which is any kind of taxes you owe to the IRS. And then the other liabilities, which is a catch-all for all the liabilities that you might have that have not been added in here. Typically, most people will have this as zero. Okay. Total liability is the sum of all of these liabilities, and then the net worth is the difference between your assets and total liabilities. So this item right here and this item to get the net worth, and then the total is adding up the assets, the liabilities, and the net worth together. So that's kind of on the assets and liabilities side. The next section that's important is the source of income. This is the first one is the salary item, which is obviously the salary of you and your spouse. Include that amount you report on your W-2 and 1099. and the the distribution that you take should not be included here, okay, from your business. Net investment income is income from dividends, interest earned on stocks and bonds. Real estate income is any type of kind of annual rent that you receive from your real estate. And other income is basically, you know, uh, child support, pension, as well as distributions that you get from your business. On the liability side, we want to kind of talk about the total list of, as when we talk about this item, most people don't have this. This is, the total list of, liabilities or loans that you've co-signed for your, or maybe for your kid or for a relative. Legal claims and judgments are any debts associated with legal and judgment and claims against you. Provision for federal tax, any money you're setting aside to pay expected federal income taxes, typically when your financial situation changes. And this is a catch-all. The other special debt is a catch-all for all your debt. Okay. So on description of other income in section 1, you'll kind of add this as W2, and you'll just say it's distributions or it's a bonus income or whatever have you, and you want to put that in here. Okay. So let's just say you're filling this application out and you're an employee and you don't take any distribution. You will put your bonus income right here. But if you're owner of the business, if you're taking a distribution from the business, you probably want to put in the other income right here. Okay. The next thing is the section 2 right here, the note payables to banks and others. You want to put the name and address of the note holder, the original balance, the current balance, the payment amount, the monthly kind of frequency, and what type of loan this is, right? And if you look here on the section 2, this is right here, what you filled out. This is primarily for all of the credit card debt that you have, the personal loans that you have, the student loans that you have. Please don't add your mortgage debt in here. There's a separate section for that. From there, section 3, you'll want to kind of list out all the stocks that you own, the number of shares, the name of the security like Apple, the amount you spend to buy that stock, the current value of that stock, the date that you got the value of the stock or the quotation, and the total value, its current value of the stock. If you have more than 4 stocks that a lot of people do have, it's really important to add a additional document that lists that out, and put that on a separate page in an appendix. Section 4 is really important. A lot of our lenders really love it if you own a primary home or you own other investment homes, and you want to kind of enter the input all that in here. So first you want to kind of talk about the type of real estate, whether it's primary residence, other residence, or rental property, etc. The address of the property, the date of purchase, which should match the date of the mortgage bill of sale, the original cost of what you bought the property for, the present market value. You can use something like Redfin or Zillow to get the present value of the home, or you can get an estimate based on what you think it's worth if you've gotten appraised or refinance. From there, you want to kind of add the name and address of the mortgage holder. This is the bank you owe money to. If you have multiple mortgages from the same bank, put the last 4 digits of the account number as well. So for example, if you have a first and a second mortgage, maybe you got a HELOC, you want to input both those names here. So you want to put 2 of the banks here, and you want to put 2 of the mortgage account numbers here as well. The next is the mortgage balance, which is the amount you owe. The amount of payment that you do per month, I would ignore the year, and I would just put the amount of your mortgage per month, and I would just put the status of your mortgage as current, foreclosure, paid in full, etc. And similarly, if you have a property B, and a property C, which are additional properties from your primary home, you want to put these in here as well. Okay. Section 5 is really related to, personal property of significant value, such as jewelry, electronics, wine collections, cars that are recreational kind of vehicles. You want to kind of put in the value here, and you want to describe, what if you have liens on those assets. Okay. Section 6, if you owe tax to the federal government, then you cannot get approved for an SBA loan until that debt is resolved or a payment plan is created, and you just want to kind of put together, what type of unpaid taxes that you have. If you have any tax lien, you want to kind of detail those, and then if you have a payment plan, you want to detail that as well here. Section 7 is just other liabilities. This could be debts to foreign governments, outstanding lawsuits, debts that come from private agreements. If you have a hard money loan, you typically want to put it right here, and a personal hard money loan, and that's important as well. Okay, and you can put that in the Section 7. In Section 8, this is the life insurance held. You have to give the face amount and the cash value of these policies, the name of the insurance company, and the beneficiaries. And as soon as you're done with this section, you've finished the 413. The next section here is signing the PFS. Sign, print, date, and social security number for both yourself, and if you have a spouse, your spouse will have to sign as well. With this personal financial statement, you now have enough, you've completed one of the various kind of documents required to successfully apply for a loan. And in the next video, we're going to tackle the SBA 1919. But based on, how long something like this takes and how much potential paperwork and the same information has to be repeated again and again, with each bank having their own, application process, their own application paperwork. It really makes a lot of sense to work with a platform like GoSBA Loans, because what we can do is you fill out one application and we really package it exactly how each lender needs to see the loan application. So it's certainly something that I would highly recommend you use. But if you want to do it, more of a manual way of applying for a loan, this is the first kind of application or first type of paperwork I'll start with. In the next video, I'll talk about the SBA 1919, and stay tuned. Thanks.